Yesterday I made a video about obtaining some new audio equipment and old vintage stuff from a cousin's wife, and I wanted to go a little bit more in depth on this one piece. This is a Philco M1620 WAD-124, and I can find very little information about this set online schematics for SAMs anyway. Now, Beatman's, it's volume 125 for the year 1965 is when this was made. And I'm going to give you an inside view of this. The radio does work. It's stuck on one station, and the tuning capacitor is froze. The turntable motor is froze. And well, let me speak for it. Let it speak for itself. Take the back off and show you inside what it looks like. Before I take the back off of this Philco unit, you can see its size by the size of our chest freezer here. It almost goes end to end on the chest freezer. Crazy, huh? Here's the bottom part of the radio. This is kind of like a bench, but it's not really built sturdy enough to be used as a bench. Kind of more like a corner coffee table type deal. The legs are removable. It's got a thumb screw, and you can pull the legs off of this, and it's solid wood. It's not particle board or press board or anything like that. It's the real deal. To take the back off the radio, you have to remove 17 quarter-inch screws, and then unhook the radio's interlock system it has on the line cord. But before we do, I'll show you what we have here. We have connections for a external, where you can use the internal antenna, which utilizes the line cord as an antenna. And you have connections for external left and right stereo speakers. And there's the model, M1620-124, printed in the USA. That's kind of a rarity. And we have designed and engineered to comply with FCC Part 15. So, let me take the last few remaining screws out and I'll show you the inside of this unit. Here's the inside of the unit with its record changer closed. We can see we got probably an 8-inch all-frequency speaker there. There's our 4-speed turntable. Here's our tubed radio chassis. And another speaker on that side with our antenna connection sticking out. And this unit uses, let's see if I can make out some tube locations here and some numbers, a 17C9, a 12BE6 AM converter, a 6BJ6 FM AM IF, a 12BA6 FM IF, a match set of 25 F5A output tubes, a 12AX7 stereo preamp tube, 12AX7 19 kilocycles preamp and audio amplifier tube, and a 6BH6 38 kilocycle output tube. Kind of an odd tube complement in this thing. But like I was telling you, it's probably going to wash out a lot of the video, but down in here where this tuning condenser's at, my hand on the underside of it, she's froze solid and won't move a bit. The actual pulley on the shaft of the tuning condenser will move, but the plates there won't move at all. Now, I don't see any chassis number on this thing, but I keep seeing the serial number FD55428 and the model number of M1620WAD. We got some, you can't see them with the light on, there you go. Philco made in the USA, 351695-2. Humongous electrolytic capacitor right there on the back side of the tuner, straight in front of us. And there is a complement of RCA and Philco branded tubes in this unit. This is our AM ferrite bar antenna. And all of our connections over to the record player, power and audio. And our left channel speaker. It's odd how they have the antenna wired in this thing. It's internally. It just kind of stops right there in the corner. It goes all the way across the bottom to right here on these two terminals right there. Strange. And auxiliary inputs at this point in time must have not been a very important feature on a stereo unit. This has no auxiliary inputs on it. Well, I'll go down and get my can of liquid stench and we'll put a couple drops on them tuning capacitor bearings right there, because they look really bad. It looks like somebody's put brown gravy in there with them and it's hard. We'll put a couple drops of liquid wrench in there and see if that'll free that up, and I'll take this platter and mat off of the turntable and take a look at the motor and the idler wheel in there too while we have it apart. Well, after putting a few drops of liquid wrench on that condenser down there, it's still stuck. But we'll keep messing with it. Got that tuning condenser unstuck finally. The liquid wrench had its work cut out for it on this one. It still needs to soak. It's pretty stiff, but I got it to move. Now we need to get into this turntable and see what it's going to take to get it up and running again. I got it partially pulled out. I just need to turn the unit around and check it out. Well guys, after a little bit of work, we got this. Plus some dirty controls that need cleaned, but it's freaking loud now. Basically had to spray that tuner bearing down with a bunch of contact cleaner, PB blaster, stuff like that. Get a lot of old grease forced out of there, and just kept hitting it for about the last 2 hours. And then I go back in there with a drop or two of liquid bearing, and I'm trying to do the same thing with this VM turntable motor, but this thing's in pretty sad shape. It'll turn pretty freely by hand until you apply power and it pretty much seizes. I got it loose to where I can turn it by my fingers. My fingers are getting so doggone sore from turning on the thing. The radio works good now though.